5,000 people live inside a single ship, floating in the middle of the ocean. They can't leave. They can't go home. They share a bedroom with 79 other people. Some of them won't feel sunlight on their skin for 60 days straight. They won't smell fresh air. They won't hear silence, not once, for 9 straight months. And the space they sleep in? 72 inches long, 26 inches wide. That's smaller than the average bathroom rug. That is their world. That is their home. This isn't a prison. This is a United States Navy aircraft carrier, the most powerful warship ever built by human hands. And the men and women aboard it are among the finest sailors this country has ever produced. But here's what people don't realize. We see the jets launching off the deck, we see the power, we see the steel. What we never see is what life actually looks like below that deck. In the dark, in the heat, in the noise, for 9 months without end. Today, that changes. Stay with us, because what you're about to discover will change the way you see American military service forever. The USS Nimitz, the USS Gerald R. Ford, the USS Ronald Reagan. When Americans hear those names, they think of raw power. Floating air bases the length of 3 football fields. Nuclear-powered. Virtually unsinkable. The crown jewel of American military dominance. And that reputation is earned. An aircraft carrier battle group controls more firepower than most nations have in their entire military. It projects American strength to every corner of the globe. It is a 100,000-ton message to the world. Don't test us. But inside that floating fortress, away from the flight deck and the press photos, 5,000 human beings are living lives most Americans cannot imagine. They are 19-year-olds from small towns in Ohio and Georgia. They are fathers missing their child's first steps. They are mothers who haven't heard their own children's voices in weeks because the satellite phone line has a 3-hour wait. They signed up for this. They chose this. And that choice, that sacrifice, is what this story is really about. Before we go any further, if you're proud of the men and women who make this sacrifice so the rest of us never have to, let them know America is watching. Let them know we see them, sleeping in a coffin. Let's start where every sailor starts. At the end of a 12-hour shift, exhausted, trying to sleep. On an aircraft carrier, the sleeping quarters are called berthing compartments. And the moment you walk in, 2 things hit you. The noise, a constant, never-ending mechanical roar from the ship's systems that doesn't stop at 2 a.m., doesn't stop at 4 a.m., doesn't stop ever. And the space, or the complete lack of it. Each sailor sleeps in what the Navy calls a rack. 72 inches long, 26 inches wide, 21 inches of vertical clearance above your face. Think about that for a moment. 26 inches wide. That's roughly the width of a standard kitchen cabinet door. And 21 inches above your nose. That means if you try to sit up, you crack your head on the bottom of the rack above you every single time. 80 sailors share a single berthing compartment. 80 people. 1 bathroom. 1 area the size of a small apartment that not once in 9 months, is fully quiet or fully dark. Imagine trying to sleep in that space. And then imagine doing it for 270 days in a row. Your rack has a thin curtain you can pull closed. That curtain is your only privacy in the world. Behind it you sleep, decompress, write letters home, cry when nobody can see you. Because that happens too. The finest sailors in the world are still human beings. And human beings need more than 26 inches of space. But they adapt. Because they have no choice. Because the mission doesn't stop. Because you're tired. Feeding a floating city. If sleeping sounds brutal, consider what it takes to simply feed everyone. 5,000 people need to eat every single day. 3 meals a day, plus a late-night meal for the sailors coming off the midnight shift. On a United States aircraft carrier, the galley, the ship's kitchen, produces approximately 17,000 individual meals every 24 hours. 17,000 meals a day. That's more than most large urban hospitals feed. That's more than the entire population of some American small towns eats in a day. All of it prepared, served, and cleaned up in a kitchen the Navy calls the mess deck. The cooks, officially called culinary specialists, work in shifts that never end. The galley is open 24 hours a day because the ship operates 24 hours a day. Someone is always coming off watch. Someone is always going on. The ovens never fully cool down. The dishwashers never fully stop. But here's what nobody tells you. The sailors who work in that galley, serving those 17,000 meals every day, are typically 18, 19, 20 years old. Teenagers. Many of them had never cooked for more than their own family before enlisting. Now they're feeding a small city from the middle of the Pacific Ocean while the ship rolls beneath their feet. On rough sea days, when the swells hit 20-25 feet, the kitchen becomes a controlled chaos. Hot pans sliding, trays falling, Sailors bracing against counters just to keep their footing while they try not to spill boiling water on themselves. They show up anyway. Every shift. Every day. Because 5,000 people need to eat. And those 5,000 people need to be ready to defend this nation at a moment's notice. This is what American excellence looks like. Before we go further, please take just 1 second to hit that like button and subscribe to American Steel Military. Right now, over 98% of people watching this video are not subscribed. It costs you nothing, but it means the world to us. It's how we keep telling these stories about the men and women who protect our freedom. It takes 1 second. The darkness below. The flight deck of an aircraft carrier is legendary. Open sky. Jets screaming off catapults at 165 miles per hour. The organized thunder of the most advanced aviation operation on Earth. But 80% of the 5,000 people aboard never see that flight deck during a regular workday. They live and work below, in the interior of the ship, in passageways barely wide enough for 2 people to pass shoulder to shoulder. Some departments are located so deep in the ship that natural light is a concept, not an experience. For sailors in engineering, and a supply department in the ship's weapons division, their entire day happens in artificial light. They wake up in artificial light. They work in artificial light. They eat in artificial light. They go back to sleep in artificial light. Some of them go 60 consecutive days without standing in actual sunlight. 60 days. That's 2 full months without feeling the sun on your face. Doctors will tell you what that does to a person. Vitamin D deficiency, disrupted sleep cycles, the psychological weight of never seeing open sky. The Navy knows this. The ship's medical team monitors it, and the sailors push through it. Because the ship's mission doesn't pause because someone misses the sun. There are also the sounds. The ship is never, not for 1 second in 9 months, silent. Engines hum at a constant low frequency that you feel in your chest more than you hear it. Water pumps cycle. Ventilation fans roar. On the deck directly above some berthing compartments, jet engines wind up for launch at 5 in the morning, at midnight, at 3 a.m., any hour, any day, because combat doesn't follow a schedule. You adapt to the noise. You have to. Your body learns to sleep through it. But you never fully stop noticing it. It becomes the background of every thought, every dream, every moment of quiet you try to steal. How long do you think you could go without seeing sunlight or hearing actual silence? The work never stops. On a deployed aircraft carrier, the standard workday doesn't exist the way civilians understand it. There is no 9 to 5. There is no off the clock. There is a rotation of shifts called watches, typically 12 hours on, 12 hours off, that runs 7 days a week for the entire deployment. 12 hours on, 12 hours off, but that 12 hours off includes eating, showering, standing in line for the phone, handling any administrative requirements, doing mandated training, and then trying to sleep enough to function during the next 12-hour watch. In reality, most sailors get somewhere between 5 and 6 hours of sleep per night during a busy deployment period. For weeks at a time, some sailors in high-tempo departments describe going through stretches of combat operations where they averaged 4 hours of sleep for 2 consecutive weeks. Imagine doing your job, your most critical, high-stakes, zero-error tolerance job, on 4 hours of sleep for 14 days in a row, in a space with no natural light, constant noise, and the knowledge that what you do or fail to do affects the safety of 5,000 other people, and then you do it again the next day. And the day after that, the Navy's own research shows that fatigue is one of the most significant challenges of long deployment cycles. The solution isn't always more rest. Sometimes there simply isn't more rest available. The solution is culture. The sailors look out for each other. Senior sailors watch junior sailors for signs of dangerous exhaustion. You cover for your shipmate when they're running on empty, because they'll cover for you tomorrow. No one talks about that in the recruitment videos. But that brotherhood, that mutual accountability, is the real engine that keeps a carrier running. Why they do it? After everything we've described, the 26-inch sleeping space, the 17,000 daily meals, the 60 days without sunlight, the 4-hour sleep stretches, the 9 months away from everyone they love, you have to ask the honest question. Why? Why does a 19-year-old from rural Kentucky sign up for this? Why does a 24-year-old mother of 2 re-enlist, knowing she'll miss another school year of her children's lives? Why does a man in his 30s, who could be making more money in the civilian world, choose to sleep in a rack the size of a coffin on the other side of the planet? The answers, when you ask the sailors themselves, are not what you might expect. You expect to hear about duty, about patriotism, about money for college, and those things are real. But the deeper answers are more quiet than that. I knew I was part of something that mattered, one sailor said after returning from a 9-month deployment to the Western Pacific. Back home, I was just another kid from a small town. Out there, I knew that what I did every day actually meant something. And yet, here is the truth that should stop every American in their tracks. These men and women are not superhuman. They feel the loneliness. They miss home with an ache that doesn't get smaller with time. It just gets quieter because they get better at carrying it. They count the days. They reread the same letters until the paper wears thin. They keep photos of their children taped inside their racks. The only decoration in those 26 inches of personal space. The last thing they see before closing their eyes in the noise and the dark. They are human beings doing an inhuman thing. And they do it so that 330 million Americans never have to think about what it costs. The next time you see an aircraft carrier in the news, that massive, powerful steel silhouette on the horizon, remember what's happening below that deck. Remember the 19-year-old who hasn't seen sunlight in 6 weeks. Remember the mother who missed Christmas. Remember the young man who is going on 5 hours of sleep for the 14th day in a row, doing his job without complaint, without recognition, without anything but the belief that what he does matters. These heroes deserve more than our thanks. They deserve our recognition. Now you know the truth behind the steel. Behind every aircraft carrier that projects American power across the globe, there are 5,000 human beings living in conditions most of us could endure for a week, for 9 months straight, sleeping in spaces smaller than a coffin, working 12-hour shifts in the dark, feeding a floating city of 17,000 meals a day, missing birthdays, anniversaries, first steps, last goodbyes. Because they chose service over comfort. That choice is America. That sacrifice is what the flag represents. And those sailors, every single one of them, are the truest expression of what this country is capable of when it asks its best people to give everything. If this video gave you a new appreciation for the men and women living this reality right now, our next video goes inside the world of United States Navy submarine crews. 140 men sealed inside a steel tube, diving 800 feet below the surface for months at a time. No sunlight. No fresh air. And if something goes wrong, there is no rescue coming. What you're going to discover will redefine what you think human endurance looks like. That video drops soon. For the sailors out there watching this, we see you. America sees you. Thank you.